Hi everyone, it's Christine here from Ever After Paper Crafts, and I'm here today for Butterfly Reflections Inc. to share another project. This is the card that we're going to be working on today, and it is made using this adorable Halloween stamp set from Fawn. The stamp set is called Costume Party, and it's utterly adorable in my opinion. I just absolutely love this stamp set. It's one of my absolute favorites from the most recent Fawn release. So again, this is the card that we're going to be making. I used a few other elements available at Butterfly Reflections Inc. as well. I used the brand new Birch Trees dies from Fawn to create the trees that you see here in the background of the card. And I also used the Fawn grassy hillside borders to create the little hills at the bottom of the card. I then, of course, just stamped and colored my images and did the background with some fun distress Oxide inks, which are also available at Butterfly Reflections Inc. So I thought I would start today by sharing how I created the background, which is just another take on a night sky background. I figured they're out at night trick-or-treating, so I wanted a fun little colorful night sky background for them. So I thought we'd start doing that, and then I'd color one of the little images for you, and then I would go ahead and talk you through how I put the rest of the card together. So let's go ahead and get started. I used 5 different Distress Oxide inks to create the background of this card. I first cut some watercolor cardstock. This is Canson XL watercolor paper, and I cut it to a full A2 size card front because I knew I wanted, to have 3 characters on the front of the card, so I was going to need to have the background relatively large, and I decided to go with an entire A2 front, and that's of course 5.5 by 4.25. So I went ahead and cut this out. Again, this is Canson XL watercolor paper, which is my favorite watercolor paper. And I'm using watercolor paper today to do my blending with my Distress Oxide inks. You could also use Bristol Smooth. That's another one of my favorites for blending. But today I wanted to use some watercolor cardstock. Alright, so I'm going to start with 3 colors of Distress Oxide inks. I'm going to start with Seedless Preserves, Peacock Feathers, and Salty Ocean. And I'm going to start with the Salty Ocean. So let me bring that down, and I am not using any secret techniques or anything like that to apply this ink. I'm doing it very quickly and very sloppy, as you will see, because it's all going to come together once we get things blended and bring in a couple of the other colors. So I'm just putting some blue down roughly, as you can see, hot mess, coming in with the peacock feathers now, and just kind of butting it up against the blue just a little bit, just to get a little bit of green in our night sky as well. Now I'm coming in with the Seedless Preserves, and let's put some Seedless Preserves down here, and we'll kind of go up the middle a little bit. And we'll put some Seedless Preserves along the bottom. Now remember, with the design of this card, the bottom of the card is going to be covered with grass and my little characters. However, for me, it was just easier to go ahead and ink the whole thing and then cover it up. But if you wanted to, you could always only go about 3/4 of the way down or what have you, if you just wanted to save yourself a little bit of time. Like I said, for me, it was just as easy to do the whole thing, but you can do whatever you would like to do in that situation. I'm now going to come in with some spiced marmalade just to give a little bit of an orange kick to the sky since it is Halloween. I thought that might be fun. And then we're finally going to come in with our black soot. And I'm telling you, this is going to look like a hot mess until the very end, and that's okay. It's all going to come together, I promise. So I'm going to come in with the black soot now, and I'm just going to go around the perimeter of the card front here, and I'm just going to make sure I have a pretty thick coating of black soot ink all around the perimeter, like so. Now I'm going to come back in with my peacock feathers, and I'm just going to go back on top of where I put that and just kind of blend it with the black soot. I'm going to do the same thing now with the Salty Ocean. We had it up in this corner here and down in this corner here, so I'm coming back in with the Salty Ocean, blending it in with that black soot. I'm going to do the same thing down here with the Seedless Preserves. And then finally, I'll be doing the same thing up here with the spiced marmalade, just to give our sky a little bit of that fun orange color. Now I'm going to go back in with my black soot, and very lightly go back around the perimeter. Again, because some of our black, of course, as we were blending it with the other colors, kind of got a little overwhelmed by the other colors, and we don't want to lose that blackness to our sky. So I'm just very lightly going back over the entirety of the card front with that black soot ink. And I cannot stress enough, very lightly. Otherwise you're going to cover up your pretty colors, and you do want them to shine through. That is the great thing though about the Distress Oxide inks, that they are you can very easily lay color on top of each other and still see what you have put down on the bottom. So that is looking really good to me. Let me pull it up to the camera so you can see. I just think it is so pretty. And if you're not very good maybe with watercolors, or you're a little hesitant to try watercolors, this is a great alternative. I love watercolors, and I still find myself reaching for this technique at times simply because it's fun, it's a little bit quicker, and it's just a different look. And crafting is all about kind of mixing it up, finding techniques that you love and mixing it up so things don't get stale on you, and you're constantly inspired by different ideas and techniques. So let me just quickly here put these little foam pads away. We are done with our Distress Oxide inks. And again, I will have a list of all supplies that I used on my blog with links to the shop in case you want to pick up any of these great supplies. And I will have all of that on my blog, and I will have a link to the blog below in the description box of this video. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and take my Distress sprayer, and I'm going to spray this with water. Now, I get asked a lot, can you use any type of spray bottle for this technique when you're using Distress inks or Distress Oxide inks? The answer is yes, but the reason why I bought a Distress sprayer is only like $3.45 or something like that, so it's not a big investment. But what I really love about it is if you pull the little handle here to squirt the water only about 3/4 of the way down, you get globs, which looks really great when you're doing distress, when you're looking for that reaction with the water to the Distress ink or the Distress Oxide ink. Let me show you what I mean. I'm just doing it 3/4 of the way, and I'm getting these little tiny, there's one there, see, I'm getting these little tiny globs. And I'm also getting it mixed with just a little bit of spray, which is just a really fun technique, and that's why I really do recommend the Distress sprayer. Okay, I'm going to let this water sit here for just a moment here, and then I'm going to take my paper towel and just kind of blot it dry. And then we have this really fun reaction of the water to the Distress Oxide inks, and it really makes our background fun and unique, and it makes it stand out. Now I'm going to hit this super fast with my heat gun just to make sure that all those oxide inks are dry, and also to dry up the water that we just squirted down, because to put the final finishing touch on my little Halloween night sky here, I want to add a little bit of white paint. This is from the Gansai Tambi 36 palette. This is my favorite watercolor ink, and I'm using the white, which is number 10 here at the bottom left corner. And all that we're going to do is just use a small paintbrush and flick just a little bit of white paint onto our background here to make it look like stars, like white stars in that background. So I'm just taking a very small pointed paintbrush here, and I'm going to just put a little tiny bit of this white paint. All you do is flick the brush against your finger, and you'll see that white paint kind of leave the brush in little flecks and land on your project. And it's just going to look like little tiny stars, and it's really, really pretty. It's a really fun, easy technique to do. And there you have it, guys. It's that simple. I went very light on the stars. You can add as many or as little as you would like. And then I would just simply put this to the side and let it dry completely. So there you have it. There you have your little night sky background for your trick-or-treaters. How easy was that to do? And look at the fun results at the end of the day. And of course, you don't have to add those stars if you don't want to, or if you don't want to do the Distress water spray and just the stars, you can do that. There's so many different combinations, different ways that you could do this. I just kind of decided to show you a little bit of everything, but you can pick and choose. Of course, you don't have to have everything that I show on a card. You can pick and choose techniques that you like or don't like and what have you, and come up with your own kind of mix match of techniques and ideas that you'd like to try. So that's our background. I'm going to set this aside. I can use this on another card in the future, and I'm going to bring back over the finished card now. just so you could see, I thought today I would show you how to color this cute little pumpkin guy. I'm usually coloring cute little girls on camera, so I thought, well, today I'm going to color this little pumpkin. So I'm going to bring over, I have already stamped him onto some Canson XL watercolor paper. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that on over. And I painted all of these images with my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers and a water brush. Let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see the coloring a little bit better. And let's go ahead and get started. I will call out the colors as I use them. I'm going to start with a little pumpkin top on his head, his little pumpkin hat. For the pumpkin, both the top and the bottom of his little pumpkin outfit, I used brown and orange, which might sound a little funny, but again, as I've said in other videos, you can think of these Zig markers, since they are watercolor markers, you can think of them as paint, as if they were watercolor paints, and you can actually mix them together as if you were mixing a palette of paint to come up with beautiful color combinations. You don't just have to stay within the same color family to get full use out of these Zig markers. So I'm just going to use my water brush now to blend all of these together. I put my darkest color down first, which is the brown, and then I came in with my orange, and now I'm using my water brush to kind of blend all of that out, and you have a really pretty orange top to the pumpkin here. I'm going to do the same thing now with the bottom of his costume, the little body of his costume here. How cute are these images, by the way? I tell you, Fawn never disappoints, in my opinion. Their sets, there's not a set they have made that I have not loved, and that is the honest truth. I just love their stamps. So now I'm coming in with the orange after laying down some lines of brown. And then we'll take our water brush and just very gently go ahead and mix these together. So the idea is we're looking for darker places where there's going to be shadows and shading on our image, and lighter places where the light source is going to be hitting him. So I just kind of have the light source coming in from the left, and pumpkins, they have these lines in them, so I kind of put the dark marker, which is going to be the darkest part of the image, kind of where those lines are, to kind of make it come down just a little bit. Nothing fancy in that shading there, just a little bit of fun shading. You can see some gradient of color there, and just very simple. For the little top of the pumpkin hat, I just used dark brown. So I just came in with my dark brown here, and then used my water brush to blend that out. For his hair, I'm using light brown and brown. So I'm just going to come underneath the little hat, and then towards the tip near his face is also going to be darkest. So I do the light brown first, and then I'm coming in with my yellow, mixing it with the light brown. And then we'll take our water brush and blend it all together. And that gives us a fun kind of blondish look to his hair. Now for his shoes, I did the same color as the pumpkin, so I did some brown, and then I did a little bit of orange, and then used my water brush to blend it out, like so. And now we just have a skin tone left. This is really simple to color. For skin tone, I used blush and flesh color. Blush is the darkest of the two, so I'm going to start with that. Lay down the blush, come in with the flesh color, and then of course blend all that out with the water brush. And now I'm going to do the same thing on his little arms and legs. And then we'll grab our water brush and blend that all together. And then I'm going to go back over his face one more time. Sometimes with light marker colors, like these flesh tone colors, with watercolor paper, because it is a thicker paper, sometimes it just doesn't show up that super great the first go around. So sometimes for these light colors, I will go in twice, just so it'll show up just a little bit better. Then I'm going to take Sugared Almond Pink and just put a tiny little bit of pink down for his cheeks. And then I'll take my water brush here and just sort of blend the cheek in with his face. And that's it, guys. That is how I colored that cute little pumpkin guy. Very quick and easy to color. You can see some shading there. And smaller images, you're not going to have the super dramatic shading you're going to have with larger images. You just want to be able to show that there are some differences in color. And that's what we've been able to accomplish here with our painting. Okay, so let's just finish talking about how the rest of the card was put together. So here's our background again that we just did on camera. So what I did is I just kind of built up from this background. This background is the exact size that I wanted. So I just went ahead and adhered my trees first. Then I just took two little hillsides of grass and put them on the bottom. And then all of that was just simply glued down with regular adhesive. Then I finished coloring, of course, all of my little images and then popped them all with some foam tape and put them onto the card just to create a fun little scene. Of course, before I did all of that, I did put my sentiment down here and heat emboss it with some white embossing powder. For a finishing touch, I just added some clear sequins just to give the card a little bit more sparkle. And also, it's not going to show up on camera, I don't think, but hopefully it'll show up on the pictures on the blog. But I did add some glitter with my Wink of Stella glitter pen to some of the objects, the pumpkins, the candy, the little treat back buckets that they're carrying. I did add some Wink of Stella to those. So that's it, guys. Just a super easy, super fun little scene here with some cute lawn fawn products from Butterfly Reflections Inc. Thank you so much as always for stopping by. I had so much fun crafting with you today, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.